Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Monday, November 20th. Ian Cameron solo on this edition of the show, ready to break down the Monday slate. I do want to point out some scheduling notices for the upcoming week that we've got. Obviously, it's a unique week in the season where it's U.S. Thanksgiving, so we've got 2 of the days this week with no NHL action, and as a result, there won't be shows 2 days this week. Tomorrow, there will be no Ice Guys show, no games on the schedule. Thursday, U.S. Thanksgiving. There will be no Ice Guys show. Again, no games on the schedule that day. So we will be on with you, obviously, today. We'll be on with you Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time with a huge Wednesday card that is coming up later this week with, obviously, everybody having the day off tomorrow. We're going to have a huge slate on Wednesday. And I guess we're not, I guess it's not a secret anymore. Wednesday was going to be our impromptu betcast. And I was just thinking that now. It's like, why are we keeping this thing a secret? It's like people are going to be able to figure out when it is. It's going to be Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So it's not impromptu anymore. It's just, unfortunately, with the way the schedule works out, obviously we're not having any betcasts on days like Tuesday and Thursday. There are no games. So it is Wednesday night when we were going to have our exclusive Patreon page and YouTube family plan members only betcast. So it'll be 7 p.m. Eastern, not for the entire night. It'll just be for the early games on Wednesday night, but we will be on with you, of course, on Wednesday night, and very much looking forward to that. And of course, a huge Wednesday show at 2 p.m. Eastern to break down the games. So then off on Thursday, and we'll be back on Friday. And Friday's show, we're moving it up. It's going to be noon Eastern. Okay, so make sure you don't tune in at 2 p.m. Eastern and then ask yourself, hey, where's the show? Or why does it look like it's finished already? Well, we're moving it up. Friday, there's a ton of day games for Black Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern, tons of afternoon games on Friday. So Friday's show will begin at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So basically the normal weekend time slot. We'll be starting the Friday show at that time as well. So excited for this week. It's been obviously it's a hectic week coming up with especially Wednesday. We're going to have the daily show, the betcast at night. Friday, of course, we're going to have the earlier show at noon Eastern. We do get the 2 days off. And when you do this show every day, you welcome the days off every now and then. So we've got that obviously for Tuesday and for Thursday. We're going to jump right into this card. I'd like to be able to tell you that we would like to do the recap, but I didn't watch a lick of hockey yesterday, honestly, because I was at the Grey Cup all day. So I'm a bad. This is not the day for me to be spewing on and on for 30 minutes about games I didn't even watch yesterday. So we're going to avoid the recap. The only thing I can say is I did see a good portion of the Leafs in the Wild on Sunday morning, the game in Sweden before I left. And definitely when you look at that game, just a magical fairy tale ending for William Nylander getting the overtime winner. Another tough loss for the Minnesota Wild. And we had some thought maybe as they head back to North America following, getting swept in Sweden, that maybe Minnesota would be one of those teams making a coaching change. But the more I read, the more it sounds like it, the more it's almost got that feel to it that Bill Guerin is going to hang by his head coach, at least for a little while longer, with Dean Evison, despite the struggles of the team. So we will definitely keep an eye on that. But I don't think it's a foregone conclusion anymore. That we're going to see a coaching change there in Minnesota. We'll see. Maybe our initial read on it was correct, but as of right now, things are standing pat. And obviously for Toronto, they sweep both of their games, and William Nylander lives up to his star billing over there in Stockholm, Sweden. 2 goals, 5 points in the 2 games combined. Very, very impressive. Just a brief note about my experience at the Grey Cup. It was fun yesterday. It's always great when the Grey Cup is here in Hamilton, my hometown. The game was outstanding. You couldn't ask for a better game, a more exciting game to decide a champion in a sport with your championship game. You can't ask for better than what we saw with the Montreal Alouettes and Winnipeg Blue Bombers last night. Credit to Cody Fajardo and the Montreal Alouettes for getting the job done. in thrilling fashion. Hey, people were doubting Fajardo all year. Is he going to be able to lead his team to victory in the big playoff games? Game on the line, needing a touchdown. Could he move that team down the field and find a way to make it happen? And he did. He was brilliant. It was the best game of his CFL career. Not even an issue, not even a debate on that. Outstanding win for the Alouettes. The game was sensational. The weather held up. It was cold, but the wind wasn't as bad. No rain, no snow. So as good as you could ask for in mid-November in these parts. And then, of course, we saw Green Day, who were terrific at halftime, although it was very nostalgic for me. Reminded me of all those years in elementary and high school listening to Green Day. So took me back in time, but Green Day did a great job at the halftime show last night. So a great day, a fun experience was had. But that's over now. Back to business. And we have a Monday card to break down. So let's get to it. We will begin with the Edmonton Oilers and Florida Panthers. Florida minus 115 home favorites, 7 being the total here in this one. Not a surprise, actually, to see a 7. I did cash a ticket with the Oilers and the Lightning over the total on Saturday. A wild back and forth affair. And look, Edmonton is going to have these nights, unfortunately, where their defensive issues and their goaltending, I think it was more their defensive issues, can be so glaring, they don't have to give up a ton of shots to give up a bunch of great chances and ultimately goals. And that's exactly what we saw against Tampa Bay. They probably deserve better than losing 6-4 to the Lightning on Saturday. But, you were giving up all kinds of grade A chances. And every time, Tampa Bay had an opening, they took advantage of it. We saw struggles on the penalty kill. Tampa's, although they do have an elite power play, they've been outstanding, the Lightning, this year with the man advantage, top 3 in the league. But Edmonton gives up 2 power play goals in that game. That's not exactly what you want to see at all. So the 3-game win streak snapped. First loss for the Oilers in the Chris Knobloch era. His first loss since assuming the head coach's role for this team. So we'll see if Edmonton can bounce back from that. They take on a Florida Panthers team that, solid road trip, really solid road trip out in California when you look at it, because they beat San Jose, which they were supposed to. They beat Anaheim, albeit with that noted, what we thought was a bit of a bad call that kind of screwed Anaheim out of at least getting that game to overtime. And then they had the 2-1 loss to LA, which is no shame in that. So 2-1 on the road trip, 5-1 or 6-1 rather in their last 7 games overall. Panthers have been really good here on home ice this year at Amerant Bank Arena, as they're calling it now. This fucking arena, man, it's a different name every year. It's ridiculous. I mean, goes from something Bank Arena years ago, then it becomes BB&T Center for a year or two, and now it's another name, Amerant Bank Arena. So whatever, FLA Live, that's the location. But 6-1 they are in this building. On home ice this year. They played very well at home. This is that dubious, spot where you're back home off being out on the West Coast, from the Pacific time zone back to the East time zone. So it's not exactly a great spot here for the Florida Panthers. I wouldn't want to be backing them in this spot, but do I trust the Edmonton Oilers enough? I don't know. I don't know if I can say I do. I know they got that 3-game win streak with Chris Knobloch. I was one person that said right from the very beginning when Jay Woodcroft got fired, and even before he got fired, knowing that there's a possibility that would happen, the issues aren't coaching with this team. The issues are players being responsible with the puck. The issues are making good reads defensively. And unfortunately, Darnell Nurse and Cece and some of these they just make bad reads, bad decisions to pinch, coughing up the puck, forwards that don't help on the back check enough. And more than anything else right now, depth scoring, which has been an on and off issue for Edmonton in all these years, starting to happen again, where it's too much of a reliance on Hyman and Kane and Leon and Connor McDavid, and that just can't happen right now if this team is going to be, really trying to get their game back on track. So we'll see how this one fares between these two teams. Obviously this is the 3-game road trip. Tricky to take Florida in this spot, but don't know if I trust Edmonton fully. So you look at series history between these two teams, and one thing that is worth mentioning here with the Oilers and the Panthers is that the Edmonton Oilers have actually done very well head-to-head against Florida. 4 of the last 5 meetings, they won both regular season encounters last year against the Florida Panthers. See if they can keep it going here. Mildly in Edmonton, I don't feel overly confident with this group right now, even with Florida in this dubious spot off the California road trip. But I just lean that way. I do like the over, no question. We've seen 2 of the last 3 meetings go over or hit 7 goals between these two teams. But it is worth noting they hit 7 exactly. None of them went above 7 goals. So my approach is going to be what Alex B. Smith often does, and that's going to be let's wait for a 6.5, and we'll go from there. Sergei Bobrovsky in net for Florida. Calvin Pickard is going to get his first start this season for the Edmonton Oilers, obviously, since he's been called up. When they sent Jack Campbell down to the American Hockey League, they called up Cal Pickard. Look, it's not like Skinner's playing great. It's not like there's a big, massive difference between any of the Edmonton goaltenders at this point in time. So we'll see what Cal Pickard's made of. Remember, he did see some NHL action a couple of seasons ago with the Red Wings in the minor leagues with Bakersfield. .939 save percentage in 4 games down there. So pretty good numbers for Calvin Pickard, at the at the AHL level. But at the NHL level, he has had a hard time duplicating that. So I am going to look at a live over. Let's see how this game starts. Let's see how Edmonton comes out of the gate, and then we'll make some decisions on what we do from there as far as approaching this game. When you look at the lineup situations, by the way, for the Edmonton Oilers, we did point out, and by the way, it's scary to bet Connor Brown to score a goal or get an assist, a point, whatever the case may be, just because he's on the top line with McDavid and Nugent Hopkins. If anybody saw that game against Tampa Bay on Saturday, Connor Brown's first game back with McDavid on that top line, he had a million chances and just couldn't put a puck in the net. And that has always been the problem at times for Connor Brown. Speed to burn, gets himself in position to score goals. He knows where to go to score goals, but at the end of the day, when he gets those chances, the puck just doesn't go in enough. And that has always been what has held back Connor Brown a little bit for this Edmonton Oilers team. So when you're betting props like him and you see him in a favorable situation like this, where he's undervalued, playing on the top line with McDavid, you'd love to be able to have confidence backing him, but it's just insane now where, go back to some of his previous teams. He has the wheels to generate chances and breakaway situations and odd man rushes and high danger chances, and he is just below average at finishing off those chances and putting them in the net. And that's been the issue for him the last few years. So I'd love to say, yeah, I probably will bet him again and torture myself watching him get 3 or 4 great chances, and he'll hit the post, he'll shoot it wide, he'll fan on the shot, he'll just put it right into the goalie's pads. I'll probably rip my hair out in frustration betting another Connor Brown goal prop tonight, but I can't turn down value with a guy that's playing on the top line even with some struggles at times this year, still what we consider the best player in the sport in Connor McDavid. So I'm going to come back to the well with Connor Brown, and hopefully, for crying out loud, one of these great chances he seems to get every single game will finally go in for him. Yeah, it did ruin the bargain bin. We had chances, man. I mean, JT, we had tons of chances in that game to get that prop. Just no finish. All Spanish, all Spanish, no finish, all English, no finish, whatever you want to call it, with Connor Brown. That's exactly what we saw on Saturday. So we'll see how this one goes. Obviously, the Panthers have their 2, rocks, if you will, back on the blue line, and Ekblad and Montour. That is significant. It should continue to get more and more comfortable as time goes on for this Florida Panthers team. But certainly one thing to point out in terms of their props tonight, Carter Verhaeghe heating up for the Panthers, 3 goals and 6 points in the last 4 games for them. Anton Lundell, by the way, looks like he'll be centering the top line for Florida tonight between Reinhart and Verhaeghe. So Anton Lundell getting, a nice top line situation, which means his props are probably worth a look as well. As I look at BetStamp here, Lundell is plus 410 in some spots to score a goal, and a very, very nice, because he does dish the puck. He's not necessarily doesn't necessarily have a shoot first mentality. He's more than willing to pass the puck, and when he's got guys like Reinhart and Verhaeghe on his line, he probably will do that. The assist prop for Lundell is a very healthy, very generous plus 200 to plus 208 at Pinnacle. So a really, really nice price there as far as the Florida Panthers and Anton Lundell Goal prop, yes, but the assist prop, because he's definitely someone that can dish out to his teammates. Plus 200, really, really nice price there with that. All right, Boston, Tampa Bay. We've got the Bruins here, minus 140, road favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game. Tampa Bay, 6-4 win, as we mentioned, against Edmonton. Boston with a 5-2 win against Montreal. Shout out to our good friend of the show, Kyle Bond, who joined us on Saturday. Bruins puck line was his best bet. That ended up cashing. Nice job by the Bruins. 2 straight wins after losing to Montreal last weekend. We'll see if they can carry over that momentum here to this one against Tampa Bay. They've really had a good time of it against Tampa. 6 of the last 7 meetings the Bruins have defeated the Tampa Bay Lightning. We'll see if they're able to notch another win here in this game. I did look at Boston here in this game, and I got in on them at a little bit better price than what's out there now. It has gone up a little bit, but I did grab a little minus 128 on Boston. It's up to minus 135, minus 140 in some spots, but I do like the Bees here a little bit in this game. I think when you look at Tampa Bay's last game did get outplayed, which was concerning. Unfortunately, the good news is for them, they buried their chances against a subpar Edmonton defense. Not going to be as easy here against a Bruins team that is obviously a much better defensive club, just not only overall, but obviously in current form as well. A Bruins team that now has pretty much their entire blue line, aside from Grzelcyk, healthy again. Derek Forbert's back. Charlie McAvoy's done serving his suspension. And what I like now, too, is they've seen so much confidence in Mason Lowry since he was called up, that he's actually sticking in the lineup, and I think he's earned it. He's been very, very solid. He looks like he's NHL ready on that Boston blue line, Mason Lowry. I've been very, very impressed with what I've seen. Lots of poise in his early it's a tour of duty, if you will, here in the NHL. Linus Ullmark expected in net for Boston. Jonas Johansson expected for Tampa Bay. Keep in mind, Anthony Cirelli, one of the better two-way centers, defensive centers in the league. There was some question about whether he'd miss another game. He didn't play against Edmonton on Saturday. He is going to be back, so that's good news for the Lightning, managing to only miss the one game with that hand injury. So that's definitely good news here for the Lightning going into this game, to at least have him back back in business here on the ice for the Tampa Bay Lightning in this game. Yeah, the draw, by the way, I should point out with the draw has cashed in 2 of the last 4 meetings. We have seen relatively close games between these two teams, so I don't mind a sprinkle on the draw, but I do think Boston can get the job done here. Don't lay road chalk very often, but I am doing that here in this game with Boston at around minus 130. Again, up to minus 140 now as well with the Bruins here in this one. And then as far as player props for this game, if you look at the way the lineup shakes out, Pavel Zacha, man, just continues to be in a groove, in a great rhythm. He's been terrific lately, not only offensively, but in his own end as well. I believe this guy is on some kind of huge point streak where he's got something like points in 10 of the last 11 games for the Boston Bruins. So Zacha's been absolutely outstanding. He's the clear choice for me if I'm going to target and zero in on one Boston prop in this game. And then on the Tampa Bay side of the equation, you look at how their lineup shakes out tonight. Hagel's been very good lately. Nick Paul on the second line has been noticeable for them as well. So keep an eye on that. But keep an eye on those 2 players. Those would be the ones I would look at. Point Kucherov and Stamkos, they're always threats. Make no mistake about it. But I think when you look at it, the value for me personally is greater with the likes of Nick Paul or the likes of a Brandon Hagel right now for the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, Colorado, Nashville. We've got the Colorado Avalanche minus 160 road favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. What a job by Colorado. And look, I wasn't thrilled with what I was seeing because I liked Dallas on Saturday night, but I do have to give the Avalanche credit. 3-0, there was nothing going their way. Then all of a sudden, Dallas gets into penalty trouble late second period. And, you open the door like that if you're Dallas, and you give, what can still be a very dangerous team a life when they didn't have one. That's exactly what can happen. Bang, bang, Colorado with 2 goals late in the second. And that's when you could sense it. The momentum was swinging in that game. And the Avalanche roared back from that 3-0 deficit, scored 6 unanswered to win 6-3 in Dallas on Saturday night. That's now their third straight win. And I'm telling you what, this Colorado team, is this the start of a run that we know they can be capable of? Maybe it is, because Jared Bednar, I think the last 3 games we have during this win streak, we have seen him settle on line combinations that he is comfortable with, that are clicking right now. I mean, Big Val Nichushkin, Nate McKinnon, and Mikko Rantanen are clicking, and that is putting it mildly right now. No question. They have been absolutely terrific since Bednar put them together recently. Drouin with Johansson and Tatar's been a nice line. I'll tell you what's been a really good line, that third line, and they've been offensively very noticeable lately too. Ross Colton centering the third line with Miles Wood and Logan O'Connor. Ross Colton's on a 3-game goal streak, man. This is a good you know what this guy is capable of offensively. We remember him in Tampa Bay, where this guy, like Ross Colton, could, all of a sudden pop up and be able to go on this little heater, scoring goals and piling up assists, piling up points. And, he may be about to do that right now for the Colorado Avalanche. So Ross Colton, with goals in 3 straight games for this team, I think very, very good live undervalued goal prop option for Colorado going into this game tonight. It looks like Josh Manson, who missed the last 3 games, he is still doubtful tonight with the upper body injury. They do miss him, but again, Colorado is one of those teams that has just so much great quality depth on the blue line. Jack Johnson, Gerard, Byram, Makar, Taves. They get a Caleb Jones to step in, who's played a bunch of games in the NHL, so they've got the depth to withstand those kind of injuries on the back end. But yeah, Colorado's starting to roll right now. Nashville off a win against Chicago 4-2 on Saturday. That snapped a 4-game losing streak. Of course, these two teams have history with one another, going back to the playoffs last year, where the Colorado Avalanche ended up winning in 5 games against the Predators. Actually, not last year. It was 2 years ago, I should say, in the playoffs. 2 years ago in the playoffs. Colorado took out Nashville in 5. Last year, Colorado won all 4 regular season meetings against the Nashville Predators. 5-3, 3-1, 3-2, and 4-3 were the final scores in those games. So we'll see how this one fares. I ain't stepping in front of Colorado. I don't love the price enough, though. Maybe if I were to look at Colorado, I'd be interested more in team total. The one thing about the Predators and there is that their defensive game, at times has looked a little erratic. They gave up a 7 spot at home to Arizona, 6 goals allowed to Winnipeg, 4 to Calgary. So there's been some noticeable drop-off at times in this team's structure defensively, and that might be trouble against Colorado. So if I were to bet anything here, it would be maybe a look at the Colorado team total. You're getting a good price on it, over 3.5 plus 100 here in this game. But definitely interesting to see how it goes. But like I say, why would you take Colorado minus 160 when good chance if they win the game, they're going to score at least 4? Take that over 3.5 plus 100 instead. And as far as props go, we're going to stick to the script here. Big Val Nichushkin for Colorado. He's been lighting it up since being on that top line. 5 goals for him in the last 5 games. Stick with him. Ross Colton as well. Got to take him at that price. Given the 3-game goal streak he is on, he has been producing from that third line center spot for the Avalanche, and Ross Colton plus 375. Still getting a really nice price there for him to find the back of the net. And then for Nashville, because Georgiev is going to be in net for them tonight, Georgiev and Saros have been confirmed as the goaltenders tonight. I would look at a couple of players for them because they are offensively capable. A guy that's streaky, and I could see him maybe starting to get things going a little bit for Nashville, is Gus Nyquist, the veteran. He's actually on a 4-game point streak and got one of their goals against Chicago the other night. Can be a bit of a streaky scorer. So when you see signs of someone that's pretty streaky starting to heat up, that might be something you want to run with a little bit. So maybe you look at a Gus Nyquist prop option here for the Nashville Predators tonight in this one. All right, next up, we continue along. We've got the New York Rangers and the Dallas Stars. Dallas minus 130, minus 135 home favorites. 5.5, 6 the total, although most books have 6 here. as far as the total in this game. Let's see what kind of response that was jarring to see Dallas. Now I know Colorado's a heck of a team. We know that, but that's not like Dallas to be that, bad as far as closing out games and blowing leads. You don't expect that from the Dallas Stars. I don't care who they're playing. So that was a little surprising. And a 3-0 lead disappears the other night against Colorado, and they lose 6-3. Just an absolutely horrendous third period for the Dallas Stars. So they want to bounce back from that, but they got to do so against this absolutely red-hot New York Rangers team. I mean, this has been impressive. Now, we talked about how, Peter Laviolette first year when he takes over a team, it seems like this automatic success, instant success. He automatically improves the fortunes of the team. And I expected, that they probably would get off to a solid start. I did not think 12-3, though. This is very impressive from the New York Rangers right now, the way they're playing. And look, if they're going to start scoring 5 goals, like they did to beat the New Jersey Devils, on Saturday night, that's definitely going to make them even more dangerous moving forward, because we know they can shut you down. We know they can limit goals against. We know they've got one of the best goalies in hockey in Igor Shesterkin. If they're going to be able to get their offense going, look out. And you look at the last 5 games for the New York Rangers, 4+ in each game, 5 straight with at least 4 goals for the New York Rangers. So that's very impressive to me going into this one against Dallas. Again, Dallas 3 straight overs coming into this game. I think you got to ride over here in this game. There's a 5.5 at DraftKings shaded to the over at -122. I'm picking that number off right now and looking over the total at 5.5. I know these two teams are capable of 2-1, 3-1 hockey. No question. The Rangers have gone 4 of the last 5 over. Dallas Stars, 3 straight overs. And if you actually look at head-to-head series history between these two teams, we've seen 4 of the last 6 go over, and we've seen 3 consecutive games in Big D between the Rangers and Stars go over the total, with finals of 6-3, 7-4, and 4-2 between these two teams. So, these are two teams that are capable of playing 2 different ways. They can find ways to win a 4-3, 5-4 game, and they can just as easily win a 2-1, 3-1, 3-2 tight, lower scoring affair. Both of these teams are capable of winning both ways. But I'm going to look at 5.5 here. Most books have 6. Shop around. DraftKings, couple others have 5.5. I'm going to grab that 5.5 with Rangers Stars over 5.5 -122. I'm also going to grab the draw here in this game. I do feel this is a pretty competitive game. It was 2-1 Rangers in overtime last year when these teams met at Madison Square Garden, the last meeting between these two teams. We've seen some pretty competitive games from both of them of late. The Rangers have gone past regulation in 4 of their last 10 games. The Dallas Stars, I think in a game like this, it'll be pretty tight. So I like the draw a little bit here. Again, go to FanDuel if you're going to bet the draw. And that is simply because it's the best prices I've seen anywhere as far as betting the draw available right now at FanDuel. So you can find the Rangers Stars draw there at plus. It's a very good price, actually, plus 350. Definitely liking that. And then as far as props go in this game, Matt Duchene did have his goal streak snapped the other night against Colorado. We'll see if he can get back on the score sheet, but he had been rolling lately for the Dallas Stars, no question about that. On the New York Rangers side of the equation, they've been getting a lot of different contributors as of late, helping them out offensively, and that's why they're scoring a bunch of goals. It's not all just, Kreider and Zibanejad every night. They're getting, a bunch of different players stepping up. That young kid, Will Cooley, has stepped up. Lafreniere's had a bounce back year for the New York Rangers. Vinny Trocheck has been stepping up and in offensively. Panarin's been absolutely terrific of late. If you look at Panarin, he is in one of those zones right now. 10 points in the last 5 games, and he has 5 goals in the last 5 games as well. An absolute heater for the bread man right now. Artemi Panarin for the Rangers. So you might want to just keep it simple tonight. I know I always preach look for value with these props, but hard to ignore plus 185 to score and plus or minus 140 for him to get an assist. Just any kind of point prop right now for. And you know what? Look, this is a guy that's got 2 points in 5 straight games Why not a little sprinkle on over 1.5 points, which you can get at upwards of plus 160 at BetMGM, plus 165 at DraftKings, over 1.5 points for Artemi Panarin. So that might be worth a look. Now, he is playing, obviously, a team that is capable defensively. But again, it's a team that's going to be without Jake Ottinger tonight. Scott Wedgwood confirmed as the starting netminder for the Dallas Stars tonight. Shesterkin for the Rangers and Scott Wedgwood here for the Dallas Stars in this one. Although, Wedgwood has performed probably a little bit better, I would say, than I would have expected coming into the year. He is 3-1 in his 4 starts, 3.01 goals against, .917 save percentage. So he's capable of coming in there and playing a good game, periodically. Obviously, though, you still have to give Shesterkin the edge as far as in between the pipes. So for me, over 5.5 at the discounted number at DraftKings, a little bit on the draw. And like I said, maybe we look Panarin props for the Rangers, and we probably would look at Duchesne, maybe a little Wyatt Johnston and or Mason Marchment as well on the Dallas Stars side of the equation. All right, next game, we've got the Los Angeles Kings and Arizona Coyotes, LA minus 150, road favorites, 6.5 being the total in this game. The LA Kings and their road warrior mentality, I guess you could say, is going to be put to the test here. We know that the LA Kings this season have played their best hockey away from home. That's for sure. They've been absolutely terrific away from Los Angeles, undefeated on the season at 7-0 on the road. Although one of their previous road wins was right here in Arizona earlier this season, and it was a game where they actually started off horrendous in that game. They got down 4. It was actually Phoenix Copley started horrendous. They were down 4-1 after the first period, and then the Kings rallied back with 4 unanswered goals to beat Arizona here at Mullet Arena 5-4 earlier this season. I don't think they're going to get off to that same slow start here tonight against the Arizona Coyotes. That being said, Phoenix Copley's in net for the Kings. Connor Ingram is in net for the Arizona Coyotes in this game. Now, I badly want to take the over in this game. Badly want to take the over. Connor Ingram is not playing as well lately. Yeah, you can see it. His quality of play has gone back down just a little bit. He gave up the 5 goals to Nashville recently, 3 goals to Seattle. Not nearly as good as he was earlier in the season. Win-loss record is good, 6-1, but hasn't been quite as sharp the last couple starts. And by the way, they have a lot of injuries at the center ice position and a couple on D as well. Juuso Välimäki's the latest one, who's out tonight for Arizona on the back end. So a little short-handed on the blue line, the Coyotes tonight. But then you look at Phoenix Copley, and that's a part of the reason why I want to bet this game over the total. Has he had a good start this year? He has not. 5 goals. He was lit up by Carolina in the first week of the season. 3 goals allowed to Arizona. That's when he, in LA against Arizona, faced them again the very next game in Arizona, and that's the game he got pulled. He gave up 3 goals on 6 shots to the Coyotes. That's the game they were down 4-1, and they came back and they won 5-4. And then in his most recent start, Copley, again, subpar is the way he performed, giving up 4 goals on just 20 shots against the Pittsburgh Penguins in that 4-3 loss. Remember that game where LA was coming back home off that road trip? So, this is definitely not a goalie I have a boatload of confidence in right now. So, and it's certainly not a price I like with the Kings with him in net. On the road, they've been good. On the road, they've tightened it up defensively, though. And that's my hesitancy with the over. I think with the way the goalie matchup is, with what we've seen in the 2 meetings this year between these 2 teams, 6-3, 5-4, final scores back in October with these 2 teams. Both games go over the total. Over or nothing for me, for sure. But the LA Kings have played tight, and they've played good structure defensively on the road consistently all year. And it's funny because that's, I believe, the one game on the road that did go over the total was that LA-Arizona game here at Mullet Arena. I think every other Kings road game this year stayed under the total. So my hesitancy with the over was that they've been tight defensively. They've been winning games in low-scoring fashion on the road. The game's been trending under for the Kings on the road. But the one road game for the Kings that did go over the total was when they faced this Arizona Coyotes team at Mullet Arena last month. So I think that's the deal breaker for me, that I can have the faith in this game possibly seeing 7 or more goals. So that's what I'm going to go with here, over 6.5. Yes, they've been good defensively on the road, but again, with Copley and net, with the Kings and the Coyotes meeting already twice this year, and we saw goals galore in both of those meetings. So I'm going to roll with it here, over 6.5, minus 120 with the Kings and the Coyotes. And the chat is onto it, 100% true about Kevin Fiala. I mean, stupid hot right now, stupid on fire is Kevin Fiala right now for the LA Kings. There's no question about that. He's on a great point streak, 2, 4, 3, 4, 5 points the last 5 games, goals in 3 of the last 4 games. Definitely wouldn't talk anyone out of Kevin Fiala. He's done damage against the Coyotes, indeed. So everything our guy Cuban is saying in the chat, 100%. Hard to ignore that. Sean Durzi against his old team is really, as it's proven, 2 games. I think he's been shooting the puck more against LA. He definitely wants to have big games when he plays the LA Kings now that he's a member of Arizona. He's on a 3-game, actually not a 3-game point streak. He did have a 3-game point streak snapped against Winnipeg, but he has 4 points in the last 4 games for Arizona. He does have 5 goals on the season. I believe when he faced LA in Arizona here at Mullet, he did score against them as well. So Sean Durzi, man, this is just one of those spots where I find he wants to do some damage when he plays the LA Kings, and it wouldn't shock me to see that here tonight from him in this game. Lawson Krause, we've talked a lot about him as well. He's worth a look. He's played well lately. And then also for the LA Kings, Quentin Byfield, finally we saw him find the back of the net against St. Louis in the 5-1 win. There's no reason he can't score more than the 3 goals he's got so far this season when you're playing on the top line with the players that he's playing with, Anze Kopitar and Adrian Kempe on that top line. So I definitely like that situation here for I'm seeing Phoenix Copley here. Someone's telling me in the chat that Talbot's the goalie tonight. I'm using RotoWire, unless RotoWire screwed up here. Let me just take a look because I'll use another couple sites and we will see what we can find here. But that does change things a little bit. I will admit, if it's Cam Talbot tonight, that definitely does change things just a little bit. Let me just take a look here as far as the goaltending situation. We do want to make sure we get it right. No, he's the starter, Phoenix Copley. I'm seeing it. Someone that reports on the Kings. Yep. Phoenix Copley first off the ice, expecting him to be the starter against the Coyotes. Yep. It's Copley. So yeah, it's Copley. It looks like it. So Copley is what we're thinking right now. And if it's Copley, that's definitely going to cement my opinion and my stance on this game, and that's over 6.5. All right, San Jose and Vancouver. Next up, we've got the Vancouver Canucks minus 380, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. I mean, obviously, we don't mind ever fading San Jose, but you're already seeing that the prices now, it's difficult. It's hard to really find, pathways of value, I should say, to fade this San Jose team, unless you're going to go with a ton of alternative team totals and alternative puck lines, on the opponent. It is difficult to find that betting value in these numbers anymore. Already, just a month into the season, betting against the San Jose Sharks. So, now look, Vancouver. Here's the thing with Vancouver. Okay, we know we think and we know they're a pretty good hockey team. We're pretty confident in saying that. But we know they're going to go through a rough patch at some point. You're not going to be able to sustain this win percentage and this win clip that they've put together here in the first month of the season. Are we starting to see signs of that here for Vancouver? The last 2 games, they lose to Seattle 4-3 at home. They lose to Calgary the game before that. There's going to be a rough patch. There's going to be a bump in the road for the Vancouver Canucks. Okay, all 32 teams don't just, breeze through the entire season without a little rut and a little skid, at some point. So, is Vancouver going to hit that? Now, Vancouver, I don't know if tonight's the night we're going to get the answer to that, because, you could really be in a tailspin right now if you're Vancouver, and you could probably still maybe thump this San Jose team. And it's not like Vancouver has had any issues beating San Jose. It's been domination. It's been ownage. Ownage is the word. 10 straight victories for the Vancouver Canucks over the San Jose Sharks, and especially the last few games. They've been beatdowns, absolute, utter beatdowns. The last 3 meetings between these two teams dating back to last December. 6-2 in Vancouver for the Canucks over the Sharks. 7-2 for Vancouver over the San Jose Sharks last March. And then we know what happened just a few weeks ago in early November. Just an absolute bludgeoning, 10-1 right here, 10-1 in San Jose in favor of the Vancouver Canucks. So, I'm definitely not betting San Jose. What I am going to bet for sure in this game is over 6.5. I mean, I feel Vancouver's going to probably do damage, probably have a chance to come close to, if not eclipse this total all by themselves here tonight. The question is, can San Jose contribute here a little bit in this game? If you actually look at San Jose, they have scored 8 goals in the last 3 games, or the last 2 games against Florida and St. Louis. 8 goals, so an average of 4 goals in those 2 games. I mean, finally a sign of a pulse offensively for the San Jose Sharks. I mean, they're still not a very good defensive team. We know they still have one of the absolute worst goaltending duos in the NHL between Mackenzie Blackwood and Kaapo Kähkönen for this team. But to me, the safe play here is definitely just full game total. Zero in on that over 6.5. And whether it's 7-2 Vancouver, whether even if it's close, then it's 4-3 Vancouver. You're going to get that over. And I think definitely you're going to see the Canucks. And by the way, the Canucks bemoan the fact that the loss to Seattle, they weren't as sharp offensively. And, and they still ended up scoring 3 goals. But you're right, their offense wasn't clicking. Their power play, which has been electrifying this year, went 0 for 2 against Seattle. And yet, even with the 4-3 loss and Tocchet and some of the players, Quinn Hughes after the game saying passes weren't clicking. Our offense just wasn't in sync, just wasn't very sharp. And you have nights like that. The puck doesn't settle down for you. You're not making tape-to-tape passes, and it hinders your offense because this is a read and react sport. And if pucks are hopping off sticks, you're not going to be in a position to catch the defense flat-footed and take a shot and execute your play offensively, if that's happening. And I think we saw some of that from Vancouver against Seattle. It's just one of those nights where they're passing and their timing and their spacing, all of that just was off a little bit. And yet that game still ended up going over the total, and Vancouver has gone over in 5 straight games going into this one. So that for me, it's just, keep it simple, over 6.5. If you want to take Vancouver, some alt team totals and alternative puck line bets because they have just destroyed San Jose repeatedly, I wouldn't talk you out of it. I mean, we have seen the last 3 meetings. You add up the scores cumulatively of the last 3 games between these two teams, and it would be 23 to 5 in favor of the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver Canucks 23, San Jose Sharks 5 in the last 3 meetings collectively between these two teams. So, like I say, you can take a shot with that. I wouldn't talk you out of it. For me, though, I'm just going to stick to over 6.5 here. I feel good about that. By the way, as far as goaltenders tonight in this game, Thatcher Demko for Vancouver, Mackenzie Blackwood in net for the San Jose Sharks. And I want to point out the injury that Vancouver's got with Carson Soucy. This guy was out 6 to 8 weeks. Without him, they're 1-2 without him. Okay, they're 1-2 without him, and I don't think they were great defensively, quite honestly, in any of those games without Carson Soucy. I don't think they were as good defensively against Seattle. They lost. They gave up 4. They weren't as good defensively against Calgary. They lost. They gave up 5. The Islander game, they got behind early in that game. So that is a huge defensive cog. They've got obviously the defenseman that can move the puck, and Quinn Hughes has gotten a lot better defensively. But Carson Soucy is one of those guys. They brought him in there to be that sound, well-positioned, good in his own zone, reads the play well defenseman. And without him, we have seen Vancouver a little bit weaker at the back end as far as defensive ability is concerned. So I definitely wanted to make mention of that because to me, watching it, I've noticed it with Vancouver with no Soucy, and the stats and the numbers bear it out. They've given up a few more shots. They've given up some more high danger chances and looks without Carson Soucy. So that is definitely someone they miss. So over 6.5. Yeah, JT Miller. I mean, JT Miller, Pettersson, and Besser. You can recycle these three guys. And especially if you think Vancouver's in a good spot and they're going to win and they're going to score goals. I mean, you have to start and end all your player prop looks with Vancouver on those three guys and Hughes. Quinn Hughes on the back end. Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, and of course the red hot JT Miller right now for them, and a little Phil Roenick too. Phil Roenick with the goal, with the assist props especially, or the point props. He's been popping those in like Pez dispensers right now for the Vancouver Canucks. So you can build this little group of go-to players that you can bet props with for Vancouver, because it seems like all season long when they win games and they score, have these games where they score 4, 5, 6, 7 goals, and tonight certainly is a possibility they could score that many given their history against San Jose. That's who you build it around: Besser, Miller, Pettersson, Hughes, maybe a little Mikheyev as well, who continues to be undervalued in my opinion, as long as he stays up for Rick Tocchet on that number one line for the Vancouver Canucks alongside Pettersson and Kuzmenko right now for them. So lots of good options there as far as the Canucks in a game where, if history dictates what happens tonight, probably going to be able to score some goals in this one. All right, final game of this Monday card: Calgary Flames, Seattle Kraken. We've got Seattle minus 115 home favorites. 6 shaded to the over in this game between these two teams. Very interesting game. It's two teams that are trying to get on some kind of run, get on a little hot streak. And teams that, I keep thinking they're about to show signs that maybe they have it in them. Calgary certainly has shown that the last couple of games. Now, it's funny is that they're just starting to win a few hockey games in a row here, Calgary, all of a sudden. And just as they're starting to win some of these games, they're probably about to pull the trigger, Craig Conroy, on some of these trades involving their defensemen. Hanifin's not safe. Tanev's not safe. Zadorov's not safe. We know those three guys in particular have been just in endless trade chatter and trade rumors for the last several weeks. So it's just funny that, you start to see Calgary, putting a couple of wins together now. And now all of a sudden they might be right back to just trading away, a quarter, if not, half of their defensemen right now with what we're seeing. So I think when you look at this game here, Calgary started to play a little bit better, though that was a setback against the Islanders, an Islanders team that was struggling, and you lose 5-4 in a shootout on Saturday night. See if they can bounce back from that here. Calgary has definitely dominated this series since the Seattle Kraken joined the NHL. These teams have played each other 8 times. Flames are 7-1 in the 8 head-to-head meetings against the Seattle Kraken. Seattle's won 2 in a row. They beat the Islanders in a shootout at home. I was on Seattle in that game. Then they played Vancouver, and I got to give Seattle credit. They played with great, and I know Alex pointed this out on Twitter, on X, I should say, great energy. There's just a lot better execution. I thought they carried the play more, and I thought they did as good a defensive job against a very good Vancouver team as you could ask for. Very good, strong, positive signs from Dave Hackstall's Seattle Kraken team, I thought, on Saturday night in that victory against the Vancouver Canucks. So it's probably going to be a pass for me. I wish I could give you something on this, but I think it's sit back and let's see which teams can start to build some momentum. What I'm probably going to do is, if whoever wins this game might look to back them next game, because it might be a sign that, hey, a heater's coming up. If Calgary wins this game, that's going to be 3 of the last 4 they've won. If Seattle wins this game, that's going to be 3 straight that they've won. So for me, this is going to be a spot where I'm looking at probably backing whoever wins this game in the next game. Tonight's game, though, is pretty tough. It's at right where it should be as far as the pricing is concerned. Pick 'em. That's what I consider this game. Pick 'em. So having these two teams priced around even money is exactly the way I would go about it here with the Flames and the Kraken in this game. Nothing much for me. Now, I do want to point out 4 of the last 5 meetings have gone over the total with these two teams. 3 straight have gone over the total for Seattle, and 2 straight have gone over for Calgary going into this game. We'll see if that continues here. I know that based on the first period overs that Alex has had with Calgary. I know they've been kind of trending that way. The Flames have had some first period overs, so we'll see. I mean, I don't know why, because there's a lot of things that point out we should be looking over the total in this game, and maybe we should at 6. And it's Dan Vladar in net, by the way, tonight for the Calgary Flames. Philip Grubauer confirmed in net for Seattle. I mean, Dan Vladar's had a tough time. Darth Vladar, his lightsaber is on the fritz right now for the Calgary Flames. 3.92 goals against average, 858 save percentage. And look, we know Jake Markstrom's had his struggles, more so last year, 2 years ago. I think he's been better this year, Markstrom, but it's kind of gone the other way, where last year, early in the season, Markstrom was struggling and Vladar was playing better. And now this year, Markstrom's playing, a little bit better for the Flames, and now it's Dan Vladar's really had a tough time fighting the puck a little bit. You don't love those numbers at all. 3.92 goals against, 858 save percentage for Vladar going into this game tonight. So that might get me to nudge me a little bit more in the direction of the over here as far as this game is concerned. And it is only 6. It's not 6.5. So I might get there with Calgary, Seattle over 6 minus 120 here in this game. That's about it. Nothing on the side. But as far as props go for this game, there are a couple of opportunities. Jordan Eberle, someone that has been on the Seattle top line recently, but hasn't really produced until the other night. He finally got on the board playing with Beniers and McCann. Sometimes when one goal goes in, it starts to get the confidence flowing in your veins again. So it wouldn't shock me to see Jordan Eberle be, a solid look as far as player props for the Kraken tonight in this game. On the Calgary side of the equation, Connor Zary, is going to be up with Lindholm and Mangiapane tonight on the top line. So Ryan Uska continues to have great confidence in him, and why not? This guy has had 9 games with the Calgary Flames, and he has 8 points already in those 9 games, including 3 goals, and he has only failed to hit the score sheet in 2 of those 9 games. So no question, it's been a nice run for Connor Zary for the Calgary Flames. I'll tell you someone else that's really stepped up and I've taken notice of, and he's now on the second line for them. Anything is Pospisil with Martin Pospisil right now for them. Scored against the Islanders. He has points in 4 of the last 5 games for the Calgary Flames coming into this one. Martin Pospisil might be someone to really take a shot with here as far as player props go. Second line, getting those minutes, getting that opportunity. Plus 450 he is to score a goal tonight. And we just saw him obviously find the back of the net the other night against the Islanders. So definitely some good player prop value in that game as well. Tolvanen, I don't mind either, says Cuban. I don't mind that either with Ellie Tolvanen for the Seattle Kraken. But definitely Eberle for Seattle, and a combination of both Zary and Pospisil for the Calgary Flames. Definitely, I think both of those could be worth a look as far as Flames player props in that late night matchup in the Emerald City against the Seattle Kraken. All right, great stuff. That is your Monday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. A reminder, if you're not a member of the Ice Guys family plan, the YouTube channel membership, it's just $9.99 US per month. The Daily Ice Guys Show betting card, player props, Alex B. Smith's live wagers, and bonus content and features, including our bonus impromptu betcast. Well, it's not impromptu anymore, but come on. I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be tonight, so might as well just say when it was. It's going to be Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, right the eve of Thanksgiving, if you will, in the United States, for that huge Wednesday night card. We'll be on for probably 2.5 to 3 hours for the early games on Wednesday night. It won't be for the full night, but definitely for the early games. So we're looking forward to Wednesday night and Ice Guys members only betcast. So again, priority, and it's only going to be visible, the betcast link, to those that are YouTube channel members. You're only going to be able to participate and join us on the betcast as well if you're a YouTube channel member with the family plan, or a Patreon page member. So we're looking forward to that on Wednesday night with that betcast. And of course, the rest of the week, no show tomorrow. Back on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, betcast Wednesday night, no show on Thursday. And then we have our Friday show, which will be starting at our weekend normal time, which is noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on Friday. So we're moving the Friday show up to noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on Friday. So looking forward to that. and it'll be a very, very good decision, I think, to move that show up on Friday, because we've just got a shit ton of Black Friday afternoon hockey coming up, and we're very much looking forward to that coming up with the Friday card. So again, no show tomorrow. Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, and the betcast Wednesday night, nothing Thursday, and then Friday at noon Eastern, and then, of course, Saturday, Sunday, both days, noon Eastern, as always. All right. Good stuff. If you're asking me, how can we get your NBA picks? NBA, that's Dub Club. I posted every day. I update the numbers and the results, and I post the link to the Dub Club subscription. Dub Club subscription is very, very simple. If you subscribe at Dub Club, the link is on my Twitter profile. That's every wager in every sport. And you can see it's heavy duty. It's not for the faint of heart. It's a lot of bets, especially when you handicap all the sports I do. So definitely look at that's a Dub Club. So, and again, it's just for that, it's $75 a month, US. Very, very reasonable. Believe me, it's reasonable. I'm still seeing people go, and this is now and going back 10 years when I started in this business, they'd charge $500 for 1 month all sports. 500, I saw it, or $3.99 or $2.99. But yeah, it would be, some people would charge that much for 1 month all sports. I don't do that, because the key for me with that is you want to make it reasonable for the average bettor, where, yeah, you want, obviously, to charge for the work and the time you put in, but you also want to make it reasonable for them. So the average bettor, the smaller scale bettor, can, bet the picks and profit from them and not be crushed by the service fees, where it's much harder to not get crushed by the service fees when there's services out there that charge $400 a month, or $300 a month for all sports. So that's the issue that I have with the people that charge that much. I mean, you're just absolutely crushing the smaller scale bettor, the person that's betting $20 or $50 or $100 a game. They can't deal with that. So, that's why that we keep it reasonable, 75. And to be honest with you, I have a huge clientele and like over 200 subscribers right now at Dub Club. So I don't need to charge like a shit ton. I've got enough customers, clients, subscribers, followers, whatever you want to call it. We can keep the prices reasonable and go from there. And it's a win-win for everybody. And especially considering that for $75 a month, all sports, you get, NFL, college football, NHL, NBA, college basketball. Look, there's all kinds of college basketball. I'm watching college basketball right now. Two games in front of me right now. You got like day and night college basketball every day this week for Thanksgiving week. So believe me, lots and lots of action. You don't have to worry about that. Lack of betting activity as far as my Dub Club subscription. So that's that. But thank you guys for joining us here on this show. And we got a great week of shows coming up here on the Ice Guys. And shout out, there he is, Alex B. Smith's in the chat. I know he was not feeling the best today, but glad he could make it onto the chat to say hello. Let's get to it. Bargain bin special of the night. And I'm going back to a player that I already mentioned. And these are what you look for. You're going to find these every now and then, where just someone all of a sudden gets a little bit rolling, gets on a goal scoring streak, and you can cash in at prices that are great because the odds makers don't react to it quickly enough. And tonight we're going to do that in Music City. We're going to take Ross Colton for the Colorado Avalanche, plus 375 at Bet Rivers to score a goal tonight. Again, he plays on the third line with Miles Wood and Logan O'Connor on this Avalanche team, but Ross Colton is heating up before our very eyes, and we know from his Tampa days what he's capable of doing. He has scored goals in 3 straight games for the Colorado Avalanche, so really solid value here. Ross Colton, Colorado Avalanche, plus 375 at Bet Rivers. That is going to be my bargain bin special of the night for this Monday card. Alex B. Smith, he also has a bargain bin special, and he is going to go with Igor Sharangovich of the Calgary Flames, plus 475. How about that for a bargain bin special? Igor Sharangovich of the Calgary Flames. We've mentioned him before on this show, that he's a skilled player, and he is someone that we think is more capable offensively than he has shown so far this season. He did find the back of the net against the Islanders on Saturday night, Does that get a talented, skilled player going? We'll see, but Alex thinks maybe it can get him going because Alex likes his bargain bin tonight. Igor Sharangovich plus 475 for the Calgary Flames for his bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets. Alex's best bet, Bruins in regulation plus 105 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So Boston Bruins in regulation plus 105 for Alex B. Smith with his best bet for this Monday card. My best bet, let's go with San Jose, Vancouver, over 6.5 minus 105. I think this game has 7 goals. Now, how we get to 7 goals could be a bunch of different ways. Maybe Vancouver gets this total all by themselves. And believe me, given the recent history against San Jose, that's very possible. But I think Vancouver gets 4 or 5 minimum. You can get, 2, maybe 3 for San Jose. Again, San Jose has scored an average of 4 goals per game in the last 2 games. They scored the 3 spot against Florida, 5 against St. Louis. So a little sign of life from the Sharks the last couple of games. But series history has been lopsided toward the over. That is what we'll go with for best bet tonight. San Jose, Vancouver, over 6.5 for my best bet for this Monday NHL card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live this week, just Wednesday and Friday this week. Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Friday, noon Eastern, and then Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. Again, we're off tomorrow. Don't be going on this channel looking for the show tomorrow. No show tomorrow, no games tomorrow in the NHL. Same with Thursday for U.S. Thanksgiving. No show, no games either of those 2 days. So make sure you're aware of that. We're back with you Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern for the next edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone for joining us. And a reminder, if you don't watch the show live or can't watch the show live, to download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And of course, we've got the betcast Wednesday night as well for our members only. But we'll be back with our next daily show of the Ice Guys Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. See you then for another edition of the Ice Guys.